Okay, I now have my lautering and sparging setup going. Lautering is technically this whole process of filtering everything. Okay, and so I've got the tube coming from the mash tun right down here into the brew pot. Very gently putting the sweet wort into the brew pot. Everything looks pretty clear. Might slow that down just a little bit. I think I might be picking up a few pieces of sediment. That's all right. Okay. But I also, at the same time, I've got a tube carrying hot water from the sparge tank. This is just this hot water, and as you can see, I've got a major leak coming from the bottling bucket. I didn't think to check that before I started this. The water is at about 150 degrees. Usually sparging is done at about 170, but the author of the mild ale book recommended sparging with lower temperature water to avoid extracting tannins and other components from the grain husks. With a stronger beer, it doesn't make a difference. With a mild ale, it's so weak, even picking up the tiniest amounts of tannins can make a difference. So we've got the water coming through here. And this is just adding more water to the grain bed so that as it filters out, the additional water continues to rinse more and more sugar from the mash. So this is it's got several gallons. It's filled up to about right here of water. And hopefully, when it's all said and done, that'll be enough to fill the brew pot up to about 5.5 gallons or so, maybe 6. All right. I'm actually not too caught up on having the exact amount. At the end, you will want to have about 5 gallons of beer. And you can count on some of that being lost during the boil and during filtering. Some of it gets left behind in the brew pot or in the fermentation vessel. So you've got to account for that by adding a little bit more water. So this will go on for a little while until I've got the brew pot filled, and once it's filled, I'll be back. Okay, we've completed the process. We're up to 6 gallons now. I can actually shut this off. Alright, the wort was running very clear at that point. Alright, so it's all pretty dark. I'm thinking that if you put this wort in a glass, it would come out to a little bit more of a ruby red brown. Our grain is pretty well spent. Our sparge water tank is completely empty. So this part is done. Okay, we don't need to worry about this anymore. The next step is going to be the boil. So we're going to be boiling this for 90 minutes, which is a little bit longer than usual. Typically it's a 60-minute boil, but the book recommended a 90-minute boil for this style, and I'm going to give it a shot and see what it says, or see how it does. We do have to measure out some hops. All right, I have 2 ounces of Kent Golding's hops, and for those who don't know, hops are basically a flower. It's like a very soft green pine cone that grows on a vine, which is similar to a vine. It's actually a member of the hemp family. We have 2 ounces of hops here, and I only need 1 for the 90-minute boil, so I'm going to tear my scale here, and I'm going to measure 2. I'm going to measure out 1 ounce of hops. Okay, these are in pellet form.
Okay. Okay, Daddy.
I actually put a few too many in there. Okay, there's 1 ounce of hops. Sorry, so we're going to save this for the boil, and I'm going to use muslin bags. I used to just put the hops in directly, but it creates quite a bit of mess, and it soaks up liquid quite a bit. I started off using muslin bags, and everything worked out pretty well, so the hops are going to go into the muslin bag, so I can just pull the bag out whenever the boil is done. So this much is going to be used for 1 hour. All right, I'm going to get everything set up for the boil, and I'll be back.